Hey guys, this is Jella and welcome back to my channel. We are now on part 5 in our Japanese town series. Make sure to watch the previous parts first. For this part, I made a sushi restaurant and a ramen shop. If you like to build this too, then keep on watching. So we will continue on the food district businesses in this area. As I mentioned from part 4, we will have a separate sushi restaurant and ramen shop. First, we will make the sushi restaurant on the left corner side. I used the L-shaped staircase since we just have a 4x4 square space to work with. The first floor is basically the kitchen, but we will be adding an open outdoor dining like what we did with the other shops. I'm just gonna add the basic kitchen appliances like the fridge and cooking stove since that is what we need in here. Then I used the shaker island counter and extend it partly outside for the dining table. I added the open window frame so the outdoor dining seats can still see the kitchen. I wanted to add a separation from the kitchen counters and the dining table area. So I used basic cubes to fill in the center portion. Add another layer of the basic cube, and this will be used for placing down the orders, and also where we can put the extra bowls or clutters. I copied the custom curtain logo that we made from the previous shops, and I know this costs a lot of money and plot data usage. I will try to not use as many as I can around the town since we are just starting the left side area and the plot data is now over 30% after I finished this 2 restaurants. I know it really takes a lot of plot data, but it looks too good not to add. Hopefully we can fill this town without maxing out the plot data usage. As for the entrance door, I used the panel door and will leave this open so customers can just come and go. Going back to the kitchen, I swapped the placement of the fridge and the cooking stove. I think having the cooking stove at the back is much better. I also wanted to add large cooking pots for the white rice since this is a sushi restaurant. So I used this canning station since the pots are big and this is what I wanted to use. Now we cannot place it on top of the stove, so I used a basic cube and placed 2 canning station. Move the cooking stove first, then place the cube with the pots. Make sure it is placed a bit further back so when we place the stove back, it wouldn't be popping out in front. Now add some kitchen clutters on the counters. For the counter dining seats, I used the stylish stool. I will be changing the seat color later to a light shade of red. So save a bit of money and do not use the yellow color on the seats. Since the inside area is cramped, I only added 2 stools. Now for the exterior wall, I just copied the same color and texture we used from the previous building. As for the door, I wanted a dark shade so I just colored it black. Then feel free to color the kitchen clutters however you like. And here I am copying the used items I placed from the other shops like this fabric awning. Just color this to a light shade of red to make it look like an old building. Okay, now we are making custom nigiri sushi. I'm gonna use this log tray as the sushi platter that we are gonna make. The platter is larger, so I will make a smaller plate for the solo orders as well. I already cooked a lot of sushi rolls on the side, so it depends on how many you would like to do. And if you don't want to make this custom nigiri sushis, you can just use this sushi roll in-game. Now for the nigiri sushi, we are going to use the small round rod. Rescale the round rod to make it look like sushi rice. Color this to institutional white with leather texture. I'm gonna add 8 pieces of sushi in this platter, so I tried to add the round rods before placing the topping. Good thing I now have the transform tool because placing this round rods was different than I expected since it wasn't in the exact position that I wanted it to. You can arrange the sushi rice in a round manner like what I did, or you can make your own style. I am gonna move this sushi rice later to make space in the middle since I will be adding another sushi roll in the center. Now add at least 3 sushi rice on the small plate for the solo order. It would be easier to duplicate later once this is done. Okay, now we are adding the topping on our sushi rice using the standard round rod. Rescale the rod a bit bigger than the rice. So, for our first nigiri, we are going to make a tamago or omelet. Since this is a platter, I will be making 2 of the same toppings. I'm going to copy the tamago topping to the other sushi rice as well and just recolor and change the texture. So this second sushi I made is a tuna nigiri. For the third sushi, we are making the salmon nigiri. So I colored this orange. I love how by adding textures, it changes how the toppings looks like. Next we are making a Thai nigiri. So this is a thinly sliced sea bream or red snapper. I used a light shade of pink since this fish is a very light color. Now we are making another sushi, which is the akura nigiri. This is a salmon roe or fish eggs. Now I used a cylinder basic shape and rescaled it as small as possible. Color this to black to make it look like the seaweed nori. Then add a large round rod on top. Rescale the round rod to fit the middle portion of the sushi like a topping. Then color this to orange with a texture that looks like fish eggs. I'm just gonna add another one on the side since we have 2 flavors of the sushi rice in every platter. Now we can just copy the sushi topping from the platter to the small plate. And then duplicate this small plate and recolor this to the other types of sushi. I'm gonna add another small empty plate for the custom round sushi roll. I duplicated the round sushi roll and we are coloring this to green since this is a seaweed salad. So there we have the custom sushis and it looks too good. Fill in the tables like there are customers that ordered. Moving to the second floor, this will be the dining area. I wanted to make the dining seats elevated with short tables where customers sit on pillows cross legs. I'm gonna add basic cube on the bottom and rescale this flat for now so we can place the tables and chair on top. Then color the basic cube the same as the original flooring. For the table, I will use this Simplicity console table. This can accommodate 4 customers, which is good for family dining. We can only fit 2 console tables in here because of the small space. So I will use the Simplicity end tables for a dining table of 2 customers. For the seats, I will be using the simple ottoman as a pretend pillow seat. I want this to be functional so we won't use the pillow in-game. Then fill the tables with ottomans and make sure it faces the right direction. I get chairs with back support first, so I know where the chairs would be facing before I place the ottoman. Now we will rescale the basic shape on the floor. I'm gonna raise this bit by bit so I can know what the table height should be. Once you reach the height where the table is a bit higher than the ottoman, pick up the table and place it again, so it would be above the ottoman level when customers sit down. Then add a plain half fence and color this the same as the wall. I copied the flat crown molding and placed it around. Now we are gonna recolor and change the texture of the side walls because it's a bit too dark. I used a yellowish shade and changed the texture to plywood. Then we are adding plain thin pillars to add some design on this wall. I colored the pillars to dark taupe. Rescale the pillars that are placed on top of the elevated flooring so it wouldn't pop out of the roof. I'm also adding a wall molding and color this to dark taupe with wood plank texture. Now add a plain square painting on the gaps in between the thin pillars. Resize the painting to fit the gaps. I also moved some pillars since it wasn't the same placement as the other side. For the front windows on the second floor, I used the horizontal windows, and then we will be adding small round rods as window grills just like what we did for the other shops. I recolored the dining tables to dark brown because the walls was already yellow and I wanted the furnitures to be dark brown wood. I brought the table where I placed the sushis we made. Now feel free to decorate the dining tables however you like. Make sure to add chopsticks and dipping sauce to make this really look like there are customers dining. The condiment bottle in here, but since we have a small table, I can only add one sauce bottle. Before I add ceiling lights, I'm gonna close off this building and add roofs. I also added the walls on the ramen restaurant. Then copy the flared mansard roof from the other building. I colored the roof to dark green so it wouldn't be too similar on the black roof across the building. For the lighting, I will use the curved wall lamp and place it on the side walls. Make sure to change the bulb color so it wouldn't be too bright. I added windows on the back wall for natural light and ventilation since the space is kind of small. I copied the wall lamp and placed it on the first level as well. Then to add more light, we will just use the sleek ceiling light on the middle of the kitchen. I copied the pillars from the dining above and added it on this wall. I also copied the takoyaki signage and placed it on the side of our sushi restaurant. Use the transform tool to lift the signage, or you can just place a floor on the second level and place the signage then delete the floor. Okay, now moving to the next shop is our ramen house. I'm gonna make the exterior walls to brown with overlapping panel texture. I really wanted to use the same tile texture as the shop next door, so I used that for the second level to make it look connected although it is a different shop. I added crown moldings and thick pillars on the corner of the shop. As for the door, I wanted to use a sliding door, so I just used this French sliding door. Then color this to dark brown to match the wooden brown building style. Going to the interior, I copied the wooden floor from the sushi restaurant. We will also use the plain L stairs, but the staircase will be right next to the door. We will diving this 4x4 square space into a dining area and kitchen. So I added the walls and the kitchen will be on the back. For the walls, I just copied my favorite tile from the other shops. And then we will add an accent wall using the skinny wood plank. I'm gonna use the shaker island counter for the kitchen and dining table. Place this counter in the middle where the edge of the island counter pops out of the wall. This will be the small bar dining space where we will add separations later. I'm gonna add cooking stove and fridge that are the cheapest one, but if you like to spend more money, feel free to do so. I copied the console table from the sushi restaurant, but I'm gonna delete this later and replace this with a sink counter instead. So save your money and don't duplicate this table. I added an overhead spice counter as well. Then copy the canning station from the sushi restaurant, and we will add this on our cooking stove for the ramen soup broth. Move the canning station to be on the same row and then color this to yellow pot. I colored the appliances to medium gray and the spice cabinet to wooden brown. On this right side next to the door will be the sink counter. I used the open shaker counter since we will just place the items from the console table that I duplicated earlier. Move the door in the middle of the kitchen counters. The only way to go to the kitchen is through this side door. I will just make some space later so that staff can go to the kitchen on the side. Anyways, color the counters to wooden brown. Going to the customer side, we are adding a square window frame and rescale this smaller to fit 4 of this windows on this wall. I then copied the cafe curtains we used from the other shop and just recolor this to a shade of red. You can also change the texture just like what I did. The wall on this dining seats are too empty, so I will add lanterns as design. I'm changing the color of the lantern to white and red, and alternate this with a black and red lantern. I copied the horizontal windows with grills that I made on the second floor of the sushi restaurant. Place this on the front and side of the ramen shop. Then I copied the metal awning and placed this in front. Rescale this to cover the whole front of the ramen shop. Then I added a floor sign where we will be adding some menu board decals and a floor plant on the side. I also copied the vertical signage and placed it on the side for now. As for the bar counter dining chairs, I used the stylish stool and copied the color and texture of the curtain. You can use a different texture if you like. Now for the table divisions, I will use this convex straight and rescale this to the thinnest possible. You can adjust the height just above the curtain rods. And then color this the same as the bar table. Add this division to fit 4 solo dining area. Now we are going to be making the custom bowl of ramen noodles because we don't have that in game. I wish we could have this on the next update. So what you will need is cook vegetable soup and take this large bowl. Cook as many as you can since this will depend how many you will put on the dining tables for display. Now we will use a placemat for this to be easier to duplicate later. Place the bowl on the center of the mat. Use the large grid line to place the bowl on the center. Feel free to color the ramen bowl however you like, but I will be using black as the ramen bowl in our shop. Then get a bolster pillow and place it on the mat. Rescale this smaller to fit the bowl. Color and change the texture to make it look like meat topping for the ramen noodles. Use the transform tool to place the meat on top of the bowl. Now for the next topping, which is the egg, we will use the half sphere basic shape. Rescale this as small as an egg. We are going to use 2 pieces of this small half sphere for the egg white and egg yolk. Make the egg yolk smaller than the egg white. Then use the transform tool to lift the egg white and egg yolk on top of the ramen noodles. Again, make sure both half spheres are placed on the mat when you use the transform tool so it would be easier to duplicate this mat. Last topping we will do is the Naruto maki. I used the bolster pillow again and rescaled this as small as possible. The coloring and texture is the tricky part, so you can choose the texture you prefer. I used a light shade of pink with a flowery texture. Then use the transform tool to place this on top of the ramen noodle. Make sure it is in vertical position so the Naruto maki will be round shape. I forgot about the dried seaweed topping. We will use a square beam and place this on the mat as well. Color this to parsley green and use the texture of your choice. Then use the transform tool to place this beside the rest of the toppings in our ramen bowl. Add a chopstick on the side of the bowl. Then color the placemat the same as the dining table so it would camouflage. Now you can just duplicate the placemat and then add the bowl at the center using the large grid line, and there we have our customized ramen noodles. It is just expensive because of all the toppings, but worth the process. It looks so good. Now place the custom ramen noodles wherever you like. Going to the second floor, we will just use the same floor as the sushi restaurant. Then add deck railing fence and color this wooden brown. I also added another layer of plain short fence to cover the wall gaps below. For the walls, use the same color and texture as the one on the first floor. Then add crown moldings on all walls. I also added a short rail molding on the plank wall to add some texture design. For the seats, we will use the large upholstered booth bench, and I will try to fit 2 family dining seats in here. It might get a little cramped, but we will fit the tables in the middle. I used the rectangular table since it fits perfectly on the size of this booth bench. Then color the bench to a red shade with stain texture to make it look old and used. For the table, I used a wooden brown color. Then we are adding the custom ramen bowls we made and place wherever you like. Add some napkins and condiment bottle on the side. I also used a spice jar which I changed the texture for the dried seaweed flakes. Since we have a space left on the back side, I will just add square tables for customers of 2. Color the table the same as the rectangular table. Then copy the stool we used on the first floor. I copied the large factory windows from the restaurant across the building and then placed this in front and on the side of our shop. Now add some wall paintings on the plain walls, but I will change the decals later to a ramen decal from the free images. I copy the lantern design we have on the first floor and add this in the second floor dining as well. As for the lighting, I'm gonna use the sleek ceiling light and change the color of the bulb to match the brightness that the shop needs. Make sure that it isn't too bright because we already have lanterns as display and it gives light even though it is dim. Place the lantern design on the adjacent wall so it would match the designs in the second floor dining. I want to add some string lights outside our food district. So I used the spherical string lights and placed them across the 2 buildings. Change the bulb color to a yellowish or brown shade so it isn't too bright when we place a lot of the string lights. I changed the color of the town tonight so we can appreciate the food district alley. I also copied the square banners and placed this like how we placed the string lights, just to add some design and make this street lively. I'm also gonna add some dirt piles around on the streets surrounding the food district so it doesn't look too clean. We need to make it seem like a lot of people go here since this is the restaurants and a lot of the people in this town as well as tourists would visit this area. If you noticed, I also added a tree on the corner of the ramen shop because it looks too plain not to add one. Anyways, this is part 5 in our Japantown series. Our town is now costing over $500,000. I know it is super expensive right now, but we just finished the food district alleyway on the left side of the town. We made 2 of my favorite restaurants, which is the ramen shop and sushi restaurant. Let's go to the ramen shop first. So before entering, we have a menu board outside. This decals are not mine, so you can search this on the free images from the search bar. So once you go inside, we have the solo dining seats in front. I super love this. Look how cute the custom ramen noodles are. And you can actually close the curtains for privacy and eat your ramen bowl peacefully. This is how it looks like when you order first with nothing in front of you. The kitchen is visible from the seats, but you can close the curtains and the staff will just open this when they place your order in front. As you can see, there is no door going to the kitchen side. Let me show you where the staff will enter. So the kitchen staff will have to enter from the back side of the shop because we only have a small space. So this is the whole kitchen. We have lots of prepping counter in front of the dining, then the stove and sink at the back. This large pots are functional for roleplay purpose, and let's pretend that we are cooking the ramen broth in here. Okay, going back inside the ramen shop, let's head upstairs for more dining seats. We have here tables for 2 people and also for a family dining. Look how cute this bowl of ramen noodles turned out. I also added a side dish of edamame. The windows from here will soon have a great view once the town is finished. Okay, now moving to the next shop, which is the sushi restaurant. This is also my favorite because of the custom sushis I made. So we have outdoor seats for those who like to eat fast and go. The different types of sushi makes me want to go to a sushi restaurant right now. It is making me hungry. The kitchen is also open, which you can see from outside. Going inside, we have 2 more solo seats in here, which is perfect for those who like to eat alone. This is the open kitchen, which is very spacious, I think, because the stove and the sink are separated from the prepping area. The large pots are for the sushi rice, since we don't have a rice cooker in game. Hopefully we can have more Southeast Asian update. Going upstairs, this is a more family dining. But we also have a table for 2 people. I super love the sushi platter because we have a lot of the sushi flavors in here. I also added the sushi rolls we have in game, which you can cook as many as you can. I'm getting super hungry right now. No joke. I turned off some lights right now because I haven't adjusted the bulb color in this restaurant after adding string lights outside, so it was super bright earlier. Here's a closer look for the solo sushi orders, and I love how it all turned out. Over here is a table for 2, which is kind of small. So I only added a few plates on this table. The decals I used here are also from the free images except the sushi logo downstairs. Anyways, that is the end of part 5 in our Japantown series. Thank you guys so much for watching. I would appreciate your support by giving this video a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Also click on the notification bell so you won't miss the latest videos I upload. Help me reach a milestone of 10,000 subs before summer starts. This would help me a lot, especially in making future videos for you all. Have a wonderful day, afternoon, or night. Love you all and take care. See you on my next videos.